Hi everyone. Hello. Let me just check I'm connected. Okay, great. Hi everyone. I wanted to jump on here to talk about this topic that I have really wanted to talk about. So it's about any of you who are called conspiracy theorists, you're ridiculed, you're called crazy, people are looking at you like you're completely nuts. This is for you because I wanted to share a few approaches that I definitely use to help you through this time because I know right now that a lot of people are struggling and it can feel very tough, very like we're the only person in the world that can see the truth of this bullshit. So I just wanted to grab a drink, grab a coffee, and just talk to you and anyone that's tuning in or watching the replay and just take you through some approaches because there's so much going on right now, and I can almost feel the energies, people are struggling. A lot of people are struggling right now. When you're someone who can see the truth, you know what's going on, but it's exhausting because people around you are, they're not seeing it, right? So I just want to have this conversation and also to let you know that I am here. I am totally with you. There are many of us out here, more than we are led to believe, right? So the media will act as if we're the minority. I don't believe we are. I think the numbers are growing. So I just wanted to show up here, first of all, just to say hello. I know I have so many friends on here that are the same as me, like-minded people. So it's just a chance to connect, say hi, and I just want to share some approaches, some things that I use as well. So in case you don't know me, other than posts on Facebook, I'm Marie Fleming Grant, and I'm founder of the Awake Revolution, which is my business where I basically do coaching, therapy, guidance, and I help people drop the baggage, wake up to who they really are, and revolutionize how they think, feel, and create. And I was doing this work before all of this bullshit hit last year. So now this is here. I'm like, maybe like you, like really digging my heels in even more, and I'm more lit up about my mission, and I'm more passionate about my work because I can see how much we need to be doing, right? I can see how much people need this, right? Hi Mario, yes, we do need to unite, absolutely. So I just wanted to talk you through sort of ways to do it because what triggered this is that me and my husband Michael, we were actually randomly called a conspiracy theorist to our faces. I think we were in Sainsbury's or something. We didn't even get into any conversation, but really what triggered it was that we were in a supermarket. We weren't wearing masks. We were going around maskless. Maskless is now a term, right? That we are called. And there was a couple that had this. They were staring at us, and they had a problem that I think that we weren't standing exactly on the line, the line that divides, like socially distanced line. It was a really big gap between us and them, but obviously we weren't standing in exactly the correct position. So they basically called us a conspiracy theorist, which made me laugh in a way after I calmed down. I was pretty angry. Because we hadn't even got into any conversation, right? We hadn't got into any conversation about anything at that point, and they just hurled this term, right, which is being used. So this is what got me triggered into wanting to do a live stream about this specifically, because I've written about it, but I've never really come on here and spoken. So do say hello. Hi, Fred, Fred slash Bud slash other names. I think I would say to you, half my friends list is you, which makes me laugh. Yeah. So Mario, please connect with me after. Yes, your video platform. Yeah, I signed up to that. I think it's is it out yet? Because I put my name and details in already when you shared it. Yeah. So I'm interested in hearing more about that, definitely. So I just wanted to show up here, like I said, to first of all, number one is to say that you are not alone. So I'm lucky that I have my husband with me and we are exactly like-minded. And maybe you have someone that you're living with or you've got someone in your life, but a lot of people I know haven't, and I really feel for you as well if you haven't, because I know how it's incredibly difficult even living with someone, right? That we are both the same, but it's still hard. It's still hard out there. So I just want to let you know that you're not alone, and just to remind you before I go into these four approaches, right, that you are not alone, and there are more of us. Like I said, there are more of us than the media will let on. Videos are being censored left, right, and center. Fine, right? But here we are, and the reason they're having to write articles about how to deal with your conspiracy theorist friend, I saw a lot of those before Christmas, is because we're making a difference. And it is because we are speaking out, we're sharing truths, we're sharing perspectives, and we are brave enough and courageous enough to do that. And if we weren't having an impact, they wouldn't need to come up with more propaganda and bullshit, right? 2 weeks, Mario. Okay, brilliant. I will look out for that because I'm really interested in that. So everybody check out that link there. You can sign up as another platform, right? Because I'm really up for exploring platforms, new platforms, different things. So yeah, so we are making a difference, and I want to just first of all, number one, just I'm going to whiz through like 4 approaches that I sort of always come back to myself. So number one is, first of all, acknowledge the truth right now and tap into your courage, because I just want to acknowledge with you right now that this is a really tough and challenging time. So if you're anything like me, which I'm sure you are, you're going to be defiant, you're sharing your posts. I see all your posts, I really do. I love when I go through my feed and I'm seeing all this like truth, right, from my friends here. So even though, we're sharing the truth, let's just acknowledge that it is difficult. And you might have days like I do. I have days where some days I'm on fire and I'm in my power and I don't give a shit and I'm sharing whatever I am sharing. And then, like recently, I had a couple of days where I just felt exhausted. I just needed to just step away from social media. I just felt like overloaded. I pick up energies really like a lot. So I needed sort of to step back. So I just want to first of all acknowledge that this is a tough time. This is not easy. We're not in challenging times. So if you feel like you're on a roller coaster, right? You're not going nuts at all. You are reacting and behaving perfectly reasonable because the whole frigging planet has been traumatized. And even though we see the truth of what's happening, it's still going to have an impact on us, right? So just want you to recognize that it's really, really normal to have this going on. And just to remember to tap into your courage again, because courage is what allowed you to speak out in the first place, right? So I know like lots, I see a lot of people on here that I knew maybe for a few years. And it's amazing to see how people are sharing truths and spreading information. And even though, and I can see in the comments, and my heart goes out to you when you're being ridiculed and people are arguing with you, right? And you're having to stand your ground and you're having to, sometimes it's better to walk away, right? But you're having to stand in in your own power regardless. So it's just encouraging you to remember that you are a courageous human being for being here right now and, feeling what you're feeling, thinking what you're feeling, and doing what you're doing, right? So let's just acknowledge that. So acknowledging the truth that this is tough. We are in challenging times, so give yourself a break. You don't always have to feel, 100% on it all the time. Like I don't. I do a lot, but like I said, not every single moment of every single day at all. So that's the first one. So just kind of have that in the back of your mind. Number two, this is the challenging thing, right, which I really wanted to talk about. So bear with me. Number two is step into their shoes. So hear me out when I say this. I don't mean sort of make allowances as in let people treat you like crap and talk to you in a derogatory manner, name call you and all of that. What I mean is what I did the other day. So I'll just share what works for me. Was in the same, in Sainsbury's when we got called conspiracy theorists because we didn't stand in the right position on the line in the supermarket. I came away and I was, first of all, I was feeling really angry, really triggered, really pissed off, fucked off that this has happened, and it's happened before. But I also felt really sad. And then when I started going into like, okay, if I just take myself out of it, if I put myself into their shoes, right? Because remember, the powers that be, they want us divided. Remember this, and we already know this. They want us calling those people sheep, which I don't like doing, right? I did it a little bit at the beginning, but I don't like doing it because I know it fuels it. So they want us calling them names. They want us to be in conflict, right, with our fellow human beings. So as soon as I know that, as soon as I remembered, yeah, they want us to fight, they want us to attack each other, I get defiant. So then I'm like, right, I'm not going to do that. How can I look at this in a different way? So what I tend to do, and it's a challenge, right? I'm not saying this is easy, Well, what I've been doing is going, right, where are they coming from? So I had to kind of go into their shoes. This was a couple of days ago, and I was thinking, right, if they were looking at us, maskless, dangerous human beings that we were, and they were seeing us and they needed us to step behind this line because it just made them uncomfortable, I realised they're just in fear, right? This is obvious. We know this, but sometimes we can really forget, and we're so sort of caught up in being like in defense mode, and I can get really defensive, right? I really can. So we can get so caught up in defense mode we forget that, remember, like, this isn't even a personal thing. It isn't about you as a person, and I know it feels personal, especially when it's friends and family, but just remember that they're only acting from their own limited perspectives, right? And maybe some people are watching this right now or watching the replay and they'll get angry at me for saying it, but I don't care. I'm just going to say what's true for me. It's a limiting perspective. So they're in their fear, and they were probably looking at us going, oh my God. In fact, the guy of the couple did say that's how it's spreading, right? So that really angered me. But when I calmed down and I got home, I realized he's thinking that we are in the supermarket spreading this disease, basically killing people with our selfishness. And I just thought, how sad is that? How sad is that? Because all it is, it's like they've been duped. They've had the wool pulled over their eyes, right? And governments and authorities and whatever, they've done a number on them. And when I started looking at them from that perspective, my anger started to calm down. I started to understand. I didn't like it. I still don't like it. But I understood that that's where they're coming from, right? So I know this is really obvious, and you probably already know this, but I think sometimes we just need a reminder, because even I need a reminder of, like, they're just thinking from their perspective. So I was talking today actually to Michael, my husband, about it, and call them mutton in your head. Yeah, in your head, at least in your head, right? Do it in your head. Um, I was saying to Michael today, the way I see it, it's like, think about if you've ever been in a relationship and you've been cheated on, right? Or you know someone who has, or you've had your heart broken in some way, right? Now, if you've had, or let's just think, anyone that's betrayed you in your life, we've all had some sort of, I've definitely had it, we've all had it, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you're a stupid human being and you're lacking intelligence just because somebody's cheated on you, right? What it means is that you were trusting, you might have loved that person, you really believed in them, you had no reason not to, you just believed, even if your friends maybe didn't so much. So it's like they just managed to pull the wool over your eyes and they cheated behind your back and you just fell for it, right? That's what's happening now. So that's kind of the perspective that I'm looking at it. I'm practicing myself. So I'm sort of looking at it today going, right, these people are just, they don't know. Like, we had a lovely lady, we were in a shop we saw today. We know her, we've been served by her a lot. And we didn't bring it up. She brought it up about current events. And she said, when she takes the, thing, um, she said, the light at the end of the tunnel. And we were my husband was sort of, he's very expressive as well, and he really wanted to say something, and he just mentioned, like, that's not a good thing. But straight away she said, no, I've decided I'm 100% going to take the thing, right? And I just felt I just felt so sad. I felt really triggered again. I just felt so sad. And I thought, it's not that she's stupid. She's not a stupid person. I can tell she's probably, thought she's researched. She's probably read some things. She's been told that it's safe. She's probably been told by a frigging doctor, right? It's another story, that it's safe, whatever the reason. But this poor woman, who's a lovely, lovely human being, she believes that it's okay. And it was just heartbreaking. We just didn't say anything. We knew she'd made her decision and we walked away. But I was thinking about it and I was thinking, we've got to respect that decision. That's hard, but it's not because they're stupid and they're just refusing. It's just, we've got to understand the belief system is so strong. So just kind of stepping into their shoes and just remembering that. So, that can be triggering. I'm not saying it's easy, but just bear that in mind. If you're feeling you're triggered left, right, and center, it's so helpful to be able to switch your mindset and your perspective. Otherwise, you're just stuck in a loop, right? And what's the point? There's no point. If you know you're triggered every day, every week, you're going to make yourself ill, right? Because we're constantly in stress. You know you need to stay out of stress and you need to stay out of fear right now, right? So really think about this, because it can be so liberating. You can still go around with your own beliefs, but you've just got some more compassion, right? And this is what we need. We need the compassion and the kindness now. I think we've done the fight, and maybe we needed to do that for a while, right? But now everybody's landed where they are. And I believe that there are some people that are on the fence. Great. When we talk about it, we might sway some people still. But I think a lot of people have landed where they are. And now it's time to just elevate ourselves, right? And really, really strengthen up, because this is a long road. We're going to need our strength. We're going to need our wits about us, right? And we're going to need our compassion and kindness, because you know what's coming next. I know what's coming next. You know, right? When people are going around taking these things, repercussions, right? We already know this. So yeah. So when you see psychological innocence in all human beings, then you are free. Exactly. Yeah, I really, really believe that. Nursing homes are struggling. No inmates, so government are now paying doctors a bonus of 120 per person. They recommend being sent. Oh bloody hell! Yeah, I read something similar to that. There's all sorts of stuff, right, happening. So stepping into their shoes, right? So that's number two. Number three, and this is where it's about you, it's bringing it back to you. So if you're anything like me, and I know that you are, you care so much about the world, about humanity, about the people, about what's happening. You've got to bring it back to you, because we're falling into the trap, a lot of us, of researching, reading, sharing information, staying updated, and then burning ourselves out and depleting ourselves in the process. So like I said, we're in this for the long game, right? This time next year, we need to be healthy and strong, right? We don't want to be burning out. And the reason I say that is because I've already experienced that. So for those of you who don't know me, I used to be a lawyer years back. I burnt myself out and I had ME, chronic fatigue. I was like housebound for a few years. It was really bad. Anyway, so I know what it took for me to recover. And now one of the ways I work with people is to really make sure that that's in place. Because if you burn yourself out mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right, you're going to be in trouble and you're not going to be any good to anyone, because you are not going to be able to give and share and stand your ground in the way that you could, right? So we need people, we're warriors. We need to be as fit and strong and as healthy as possible. So bringing it back to you. So I just wrote a couple of notes here just to remind myself, because I could talk about this for forever. Yeah, so first of all, it's just remembering, bringing it back to you and remembering your own truth. So you probably do this anyway, because you're going to really know you believe what you believe, you've got to stand your ground, but it really helps to kind of connect inwards. Your wisdom is inside of you, even if it comes from research and analytical stuff. You know what you believe because of how you feel inside of your body, right? So remembering your truth and why you hold that, okay, and bring it back to your own body. Staying connected to the bigger vision. So it's really important. I do this regularly. I have a daily practice anyway, like meditations, journaling, all that good stuff. But it really helps to connect to the bigger vision. So the way I see it is, yes, we're dealing with the day to day and it's difficult, and we're getting through our days, we're getting through our weeks, and some of that is really hard. This year has been challenging, right? But at the same time, so you're holding the day to day, the practical realities, and at the same time holding the bigger vision, which is what I do all the time, every single day, is keep coming back to that vision. This is the thing that's going to stop you going into depression, into overwhelm, into complete overload, like where you just feel like giving up, right? And I really want to help you prevent that, right? Because I think that this year is going to be, we're going to have a massive hit on our mental health. I really believe that fully. So we need to be able to stay strong, right? So one of the ways to do it is, no matter how tough it looks like, whatever country you're in right now, like I'm here in the UK, they're increasing all the talk about this thing, this jab, right? Depending on the country you're in, there's going to be a lot of, all the darkness is going to get louder, it's going to shout more. So we really need to hold the vision. So what I always do is just remember, this is the Great Awakening, right? I don't care. We know that it's not a conspiracy theory. We know that this is what it is. Holding the vision. And I always imagine the future of how I want it to be. I hold the vision of the highest possible timeline, the best possible outcome, and at the same time being practical and realistic day to day, right? So I'm not waiting for a savior. I'm not waiting for something magical to come in and save us. There are good things happening in the background, and at the same time, we need to be able to take responsibility for our actions, right? So hold the vision, making sure that you're tuning into people that talk about it, read stuff that fills your mind with it, hold that vision, because that is the thing that's going to get you through the tough times. So that's what I did when I recovered, right? When I was ill and my body didn't move, I couldn't move, I held the vision of me being healthy, of me having the outcome I wanted, right? And that's what makes it more, it's stronger, it strengthens it inside of you, and it really helps your mental health, right? And your physical health, and your emotional health, and your spiritual health. And then the other thing of this is bringing it back to you is your daily self-care. So really important. And I've had loads of conversations with people about this recently, in sessions and via messages. Ramp up your self-care, because again, I did a phase of this where I was reading, watching videos, researching things, looking at all sorts of information, and I wasn't sleeping. I was just exhausting myself, all of that stuff. So just bring it back to basics, right? Think about if you're in a war. As far as I'm concerned, we're in a spiritual war right now, right? A war on consciousness. We're in a war, so as soldiers and warriors, we need to look after our bodies, right? You don't, you don't have soldiers in the military where they, get pissed every night and eat crap and don't they have to take care of their bodies because they can't do what they need to do. So we need to do the same. So I really encourage you to just get this self-care in place, right? More now than ever before. This is the time. If you've never done it, this is the time, right? It's not about perfection. Do what you need to do. Like, I comfort eat chocolate sometimes, have a glass of wine kind of now and then, very much more rarely now, but do what you need to do, but just making sure you're switching off from this platform, right? We all know what's happening on here. Switching off from here, getting your sleep, getting your rest, filling yourself up with things that feel good emotionally, right? Yes, you want to watch the videos, keep yourself updated, but what are you doing to fill yourself up, making yourself laugh, connecting with other human beings, right? Also, yeah, connecting to other people that are like-minded. So you might be lucky to live with someone who's like you might be lucky to have friends and family that's like you. Many people don't have that, so that's why platforms, private groups, whatever you can get involved in and just connect with people, right? Because it's going to keep you sane. Like, I feel much more sane when I connect with people who understand what I understand. Like, it's so important right now, just see the comments. Oh. So yeah, accepting the losses. If 30 million die young from these things, right? That was a choice they made. Yes, because you know what? We were talking about that today, and I was thinking, me and Michael were talking about it, and it was like, yeah, we are going to have to accept the casualties, right? So I'm very much like, I share things when I feel called to share things. At the same time, I was saying today, I think the agenda, right, was to definitely reduce. I'm just being careful how I say things so I don't get like caught out here. But the agenda, right, was to lessen the numbers of us, right? And I think the agenda is obviously rolling out because we are going to suffer the casualties of that. But I think because of the awakening and because of people speaking out more than they ever bargained for, right? People like me and you, then we have greatly reduced that number. We've greatly prevented the numbers that could have been. So I think we're on a much better timeline now. And I really, really feel that we're on a much better trajectory with all of this, where we've prevented a lot. At the same time, I think we're going to have to take the hit. I think there are going to be a lot of losses, and we're going to know the consequences later, and it's going to be heartbreaking. There's no way around that. I'm preparing myself for that mentally and emotionally. Yeah, definitely. So, hi, Maureen. Apparently, we're crazy. Yeah, always say knowledge is power and the truth stranger than fiction. Yeah, exactly. And this is why I wanted to do this, just to let you know. Also, but you might be watching the replay. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not imagining this. Even if you believe what you believe, and you don't even know why, right? You might see a video, read an article, you instinctively know that it's not true, or you instinctively know that this is true. You are not crazy. And what we're learning out of this, and I'm really big on this, is that your intuition and your wisdom trumps anything. It defies logic, it defies information, it defies all of that. And this is the world we're going to now move into, where we're going to give a lot more credibility and respect, maybe, to our intuition and the knowledge that we have, right? Because sometimes, don't you just know things? You just read things and you just know. You just know. Maybe you can't even explain it. Well, trust that, because you're not imagining it. And I want you to know that there's a whole load of us. There's millions of us. There's millions of us around the world that believe the same as you believe. All right, so I don't care about being called a conspiracy theorist. I don't care if, I know there are friends and family that probably see me on Facebook. You might even be watching this and think that I've lost the plot. I don't care. I know what's true and I'm passionate about it, and I won't be quiet, and I'll share when I feel called to, you know? So that's what I feel about that. Okay, so daily self-care, right? And making sure you're getting your sleep, making sure, treating yourself like a warrior. Like, what do you need to be the strongest possible version, right? And then number 4 is taking care of your emotions. So with everything I've said, with everything I've talked about, acknowledging that this is tough, you're on a roller coaster, understanding where they're coming from, your own truth, your own self-care. Also, alongside of that, what I'm not saying is that you need to be like fluffy, positive, happy kittens, rainbows through this whole process, because 1, there's no requirement, and 2, when you're really elevating yourself, you can have an understanding that all emotions are totally fine. And this is what a lot of people don't know, right? Yeah, sticks and stones, yeah. A lot of people don't give themselves this sort of peace. So this is what I know from the work I do, from the work I did on myself for all those years, is that emotions are important. Emotions are just simply like waves. They come in, they go out. So I encourage you to find a way to really get this out of your system, because you're going to feel it, right? Don't you feel it? Like, I felt sadness, I felt anger, rage sometimes. I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like so many emotions. So find a way, like what works for you, like writing it out, punch in a punch bag, do an exercise to move it through your body. I use EFT tapping, great way to just get it out of your system. Having a rant, like, I'm not saying put it on anybody else, but I'm saying finding a way to really vent and clear it out. Like, for me, I use journaling quite a lot, because sometimes I'll just come on Facebook and I'll just get triggered. It just drives me mad when I see some bullshit propaganda, and I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. They're trying to mess with people's consciousness and beliefs, right? And it really gets me. So I have a couple of rules. 1, I don't go on here or any social media unless I filled myself up first. I don't come on here if I'm feeling very upset or sad or vulnerable. I fill myself up first, and then I come onto Facebook. That's my rule. And just making sure I've got a place to vent. So I'm journaling, I'm writing it all out, I get it all out of my system. Just give yourself that, because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to pent it all up, you're going to get so angry, you're going to feel it, and then eventually, well, it'll either blow like a volcano and it will come out times 100, probably on the wrong person, right? Or you'll repress it, swallow it down, and you will create like stress and illness in your body, right? Which we do not want. So really, really find a way. And a lot of people feel that, yeah, but if I express negative emotions, I'll attract negative to me. And I don't want to create that. I want to create a good timeline. Yeah, but if you're here and you're feeling emotions underneath, they're there anyway. So even if you try and think positively, the emotions are underneath anyway. So it's going to be affecting you. So the best thing you could do is head on, face your emotions, allow them, be with them, process them, seek out help if you need to, is what I do. Message me if you need some help with that. But deal with them, because when you deal with them, they soften and they move and they just leave you alone. They're not a problem. I can actively feel angry, pissed off, sad, scared, not really scared, but like angry, pissed off, sad, in despair, overloaded. I have feel all these things, and I'm very, very positive at the same time, but I give myself that time to process, and that's how I find my power. And I'm most of the time I do feel strong. Most of the time I do, and I keep coming back to it. So I wanted to share those 4 ways to like really help you get into your power, right? Stay strong. It doesn't matter if they're labeling you stuff, if they're calling you names, you need to come back to this stuff, come back to who you really are, connect to people that get you, right? Because you're not alone. And I bet if we knew the number of us, people who are actually questioning the official bullshit narrative, the numbers would be off the charts, because that's why they've got to get louder, right? So I see it, their bullshit's getting louder, 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 louder. It was always there, it's just coming up to the surface. Now what we're doing is, by seeing it, we can, as far as I'm concerned, transmute it, move through it, and create something a lot better. I really fully 100% with all of my heart and soul believe that. And I believe that we're here, and if you're watching this, you're watching the replay, you're here to help create the new, because you wouldn't be seeing what you're seeing. There will be people that maybe see this maybe in a year from now, maybe in 6 months, maybe 5 years from now, I don't know. But if you're here and you're seeing the truth now, you are here to help create the new. And it doesn't matter what you do for a living, it doesn't matter what you do, what your job title is, where you live in the world, what your impact or influence is or isn't. You just being in your body, holding the truth, is helping. It's helping the whole collective, it's helping this whole planet. So never underestimate your power, and never, ever, ever give into that, the mental chatter. Your mind might start telling you things, right? It's just mental chatter. So come back to your truth. There are many, many of us, and the number is growing. All right. So I hope that helped. I hope that just gave you a kind of few approaches, just things to think about. Yes, words are spells. They know that. Yeah, exactly. So use your own spell, right? Make your own spell, telling yourself what you want to, what you want to see, holding that vision, and all the self-care in the world, right? So I just wanted to share that with you. Just on a separate note, it isn't to do with this necessarily, but I just for some of you that might be interested, I have a free Facebook group on here for now. The Awake Revolution Soul Team. So it's not political in there, so I don't talk about necessary, like no politics whatsoever in there. But if you're somebody who you've got that calling, and you want to create a magical, meaningful, purposeful life, and you're not here to follow the norm, come and join my free group, because that's another place to connect. And I do kind of more stuff around creativity, transformation and stuff in there. So if you're interested, come and join that. But like I said, it isn't political, and I'm not going to kind of get into that stuff in the group, but just so you know, it's there. Okay. So yeah, 60% of the people that have died in the last year were disabled. Yeah, I think it's a deliberate thing, and I think it's it's like, it's a horrible phrase, I don't like this phrase, but the low hanging fruit, right? They're the easiest to pick. So I think this is where certain categories of people are being targeted, definitely. I got an invitation for a probably because I was on the record of having ME, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, from years back. So I'm imagining that's why I got my little VIP invitation. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, a lot of that is. So we're gonna have a lot to deal with. I think we're in this for the long run. We're gonna go through stages, but I'm under no illusion that by summer this year it's all perfectly going to be fine. There's going to be phases. So we've got to get ourselves mentally strong, physically strong, emotionally strong, spiritually strong. 4 levels. Be the strongest version of yourself that you can possibly be, and then we can move through this, because we're here to create the new. There's no way we're here for no reason. Right? So that's what I feel. So on that note, sending you lots and lots of love. You're not alone. There's a whole load of us here. The numbers are growing. All right. So lots of love. Take care. Sending you love. Talk to you soon.